Most people use AI as a vending machine. This is something that I see more and more actually. Um, and I understand that AI, it's a new technology, it's a new way of doing things, but using it as a vending machine, in other words, they put a prompt, or basically what's prompt, it's an instruction, and they expect something delicious to come out, something relevant for whatever they're doing. And it's just the wrong way of doing things. They ask for something, get an answer, and that's it. And that's the whole holy grail experience that they have with AI. But that's not where the real power is of AI itself. And probably, today kind of we're trying to learn how to use it, how to best adapt it to our needs. It's a powerful tool, but we simply not using it in the right way. Um, and the whole, this whole science of prompting, in other words, this whole science of coming out with the best way to instruct AI to get us what we want. First of all, there's no perfect prompt or perfect instruction. There's even no one methodologies of how prompt or how to build this kind of instruction for AI. What AI needs, it needs data as much as possible. You want something relevant, give it as much data as possible about whatever topic or whatever you want, because what essentially it does, it takes data, process it, and gives you relevant information or some response. That response could be text, images, videos, or if you integrate AI within a robot, it could be an action. That said, you know, there's another part, another dimension to AI that we need to learn how to use it. And the best way to use AI is to use it as a copilot, not simply a tool that will generate whatever we want it to generate by putting a perfect prompt. The whole idea of prompting, of this perfect instruction that will give us just what we want, or even better. There's no perfect way and I see more and more people like kind of creating a bunch of courses just about how to prompt, how to put the best instruction. And there's no such thing. I mean, it just doesn't exist. You just need to provide enough data to AI, and it could be a very repetitive task if you want something very specific. But you just need to provide enough data, and you'll have a relevant answer. That said, I will go back to what I was saying before. The best way to use AI is to use it like as a copilot, as a partner, basically, and not as a tool that you're using it just to generate images, videos from time to time. I use AI as a copilot. That means it helped me think, create, and refine, not just automate whatever I'm doing. So it's not about, automating and not doing those tasks that I need to do. It's more about augmenting myself so I will be even more sophisticated. Not necessarily faster, but more sophisticated so I could go deeper, so I could, have a kind of a cognitive superpower, so to speak. It's like having I will say, a smart assistant that is available 24/7, basically. I ask it questions, test ideas, even brainstorm whatever needs to be brainstormed, some ideas, storylines, whatever it is. Some maybe business strategies, tactics, and very often what you will learn is that when AI have enough data about you and about the reality that you living in, actually you won't need to instruct as much as possible as you will not need to instruct and to guide and to supervise the AI will guide you to the best answer and will understand the reality that you live in, and will have even pre um, pre kind of created answers or even pattern on which AI could help you in all the situations that you live in through. So the mindset, and that's the most difficult thing here. It's not so much the difficulty with AI. Something that I learned is not as much technical. It's more psychological, because we kind of need to change the mindset. We need to change our mindset. We need to shift basically our mindset is to, you don't let it replace you. You let it enhance you by providing it as much data as possible. And how do you do that? Well, through conversation. Something that I found very practical and very useful is to basically limit myself to provide data to AI through conversation, through voice. It's actually the most natural way for us to do it, not through text, not by typing, not by texting, but through voice, basically. Because there's a lot of things that you could, transmit to AI through voice that probably you will not do it through text. Because very often we're trying to, when we write a text or we write something, to somebody, we're trying to make it as polished as possible, or at least make it right. When you use your voice, very often you have this raw reality that it will come, you know, forefront, and that's where sometimes where the real data is for AI, and when it could help you as much, more than you even think. So but for that we need to have this mind shift. You don't let it replace you, you let it enhance you. That's where actually the magic is. And also we have a very limited, even ourselves, what we need to understand is that we have a very limited perception about ourselves, about the external situations and the reality itself. um, Everything that you see is basically, or that you perceive, is basically based on your beliefs and the conditions that you received from your parents, school, society. You have to understand that we see the world through filters, and then we take decisions. And sometimes we understand that we take decisions. Some of them are completely irrational versus rational decision. We think we're very rational, but actually, are we that rational? If even the perception of the reality, the perception of ourselves, the perception of others go through our core beliefs that were shaped by, our school, our educational system, our parents, our friends, and not forget that we're trying to also protect our ego. So are we gonna see something rational? Are we gonna act in a rational way if we cannot perceive the reality the way it is? And that's where AI comes in. Because you see, something that I learned is that AI is able to see the reality or perceive it in a completely different way. Because technically speaking, what it does, it's an information synthesizer. Again, it takes data, you just process it, and it gives you the most relevant information based on certain patterns. Now, some of the critics will say, well, AI also have some biases. I agree with that. However, it could perceive things that you probably will not perceive through your perception, through your beliefs, and through the way you perceive the world, you perceive yourself and others in specific situations. So that's where the real superpower is, actually. when we work with AI, obviously. So again, we see the world through filters, and then we take decisions. You know, and what AI does, as I said, it's collect data, process it, gives you relevant information. It's basically an information synthesizer. So we have to learn how to work with this highly powerful tool, which is an information synthesizer. Um, Now, it will ultimately, what will happen is that it will give you an awareness that you didn't have before about yourself. Again, the situations, external situations, and the outside world by itself. It will give you a perception that you didn't never had before, and that's something really important, because what you will see is that all of your decisions, whatever the decisions are based on how you perceive yourself and the world around you. So you will gain more, you'll be more objective and rational. You'll have a much more rational point of view, and from that, there'll be much more rational decisions that will come out. It's not gonna be perfect, don't think that's everyone gonna be perfect. We're just gonna be more sophisticated, and obviously it will improve our understanding about everything that goes around us. And very often, I always say problems occur not because we have a lack of intelligence, but because we have too much ignorance. We don't perceive the way we need to perceive, and our modern society is more more complicated, more complex than ever before. um, we haven't been made to navigate and to evolve in a modern society the way it is right now, at least the way the Western society is. It's just too much for us. And there's no wonder that some of you, will get depressed or have some level of depression, because you don't feel you have control, because it's just too much. So I think at least partially, one of the answers will be is to enhance ourselves with AI. And this way we'll have a much more complete picture of what's going on, and we'll be able to make much better decisions. So the future, you know, just the one of the phrase that I really love is the future belongs to those who know how to collaborate with AI, not compete against it. Because you see, I hear more about this, this idea that AI will replace a lot of jobs. And yeah, I mean, it will replace a lot of jobs, but it will also create a lot of jobs, because we'll have new challenges. And based on the capabilities that AI will give us, our own needs will evolve. Evolving needs means new industries, new services, new businesses that will have to serve those needs. And that will be an exciting future. On that, that's it for today. If you have any questions, comments, please put them in the comment section. Like, subscribe, and you know what? I will see you in the next one.